not waste a lot of time. I think it was President Obama in 2004 who said that citizens don't expect the government to do everything for them. Our people are hardworking, they are talented, they are paying their taxes. All they need from us is a government that can just create an environment which enables them to realize their full potential, which can utilize their taxes to work for them. And so here the manifesto we're unpacking for you is not that all your problems are going to be solved per se, or that we are going to give you everything that you want. But we can at least guarantee that our government will create an enabling environment, which means that a talented young man from Kamocha can rise to be the next icon of Africa.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Simanyo wa mumpulira. Good morning, everyone. Before I continue, njagala isawo kalango kano. Before I continue, njagala msewo akalango kano. Akalango kano oketaaga nnyo. Njagala isawo akalango kano ak'omwami eyawambiddwa omuwagizi wa National Unity Platform. Okay, check 1 2. Okay, njagala isawo akalango kano bamuyise Semanda Wilberforce. Chibampereza ati Semanda Wilberforce abducted in drone in Nyendo, Mukongwe, Masaka. Okay. Good morning. Nga tetuna continuing ane live ene ya leero. Njagala mbagambe nti waliwo omuwagizi wa National Unity Platform eyawambiddwa nga bamuyita Semanda Wilberforce. Ngera yawambiddwa mu drone e Nyendo, Mukongwe, Masaka. Chiche chitulaga His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu atugamba tutambulire mu bibinja, because he has reasons why. Tuwali tutambula ffekka mu eno situation kubanga kati obusajja butulaga bwagala kuwamba. So before we continue, njagala mukimanye nti sawa zino tuli ku free Semanda Wilberforce eyawambiddwa drone olunaku olw'eggulu e Nyendo, Mukungwe, e Masaka. Okay. Okay, let's continue with the live. Mwasuze mutya bannange. Olunaku olw'ejjo Manifesto yabadde launched very well. It was a successful day, kyenyinza okugamba. Omukulembeze His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu bye yataddeko essira kwabadde okumenyaamenya manifesto, ng'era yagambye ffe abasobola okukikola tukozese omukisa guno tumenyeemenye manifesto ey'ekibiina kya National Unity Platform. But before I continue, njagala nsooke tuwuliziganye, tuwulize SG, then we continue.
If you go to courts of law and there's a deliberate attack on the civil society, you all recall that a few years ago, over 5,000 NGOs which were dealing with governance issues were closed down by the Museveni regime. I can go on and on and on talking about the problems, but before telling you what NUP is going to do, I wanted us to get to know the problem. Now, what is NUP promising? Number one, to restore term limits in our constitution. NUP will not only restore term limits, but it will entrench them. And any president who will attempt to remove term limits will be charged with treason. It will be a treasonable offense to try to remove the mandatory term limits from the Constitution of Uganda under the National Unity Platform. Number two, in accordance with the Supreme Court decision, NUP is going to remove that UPDF amendment which took civilians back to military courts. Civilians will not be tried in military courts whatsoever. Number 3, like the president said on the trail, the first action he will take once elected president of Uganda is to free all political prisoners. Now, you people who are watching us are the reason why those prisoners will be in prison after the election day. Because if you vote for any prisoners, beginning with Dr. Chiza Besije, Machete, Eddie Mutwe, Achideo, Gaddafi, and the Karamajong, who have been taken to those prisons and are not being tried for no crime whatsoever, will be freed immediately. Meaning that a vote for NUP is a vote to free all political prisoners. The media who are here today under NUP, no security forces, no police officer will interfere with the work of journalists in the new Uganda. Journalists will be free to do their role without fearing what will happen when they go back home. Under NUP, the president will not appoint the Electoral Commission. The powers to appoint the Electoral Commission will be taken out from the president. First of all, we are going to bring about separation of powers. Parliament will be independent, the judiciary will be independent, and therefore there will be organs. There will be a committee, a separate committee dealing with this, and the final approval coming from Parliament. So, the powers to appoint the Electoral Commission, because we all know that that is one of the biggest problems we have today, where one of the candidates is the one who is appointing the Electoral Commission. That will not only go to the Electoral Commission, but also the appointment of judicial officers, including the Chief Justice and the Deputy Chief Justice and all other judicial officers. That power will move up from the President. As you all know right now in Uganda, all judges from the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Constitutional Court, and the High Court, all of them have been appointed by one man called General Museveni. That is why many of them feel emboldened to him. That is why many of them feel indebted to him to do what is against the Constitution and what is against. But we believe that if the president is not the one appointing judicial officers, then judicial officers are going to do their function independently and serve the citizens of Uganda. In the new Uganda, there will be no internet shutdowns. Facebook will be restored. You will not need to be on VPN to access Facebook. UCC will no longer have powers to switch on the internet when they feel like. That one will not happen in the new Uganda. The civil society, NGOs and others will be allowed to function. We are going to have merit-based appointments. In the new Uganda, it will not depend on where you come from, what is the size of your nose, how old you are, where you come from, to get a job. In the new Uganda, you will get a job based on merit. You will get a job across the board. So that is how we plan to restore constitutionalism and the rule of law. We are going to remove all oppressive laws from the law books that we have, and very, very finally, we are going to have lifestyle audits as part of our fight against corruption. If you are serving the government, you must tell us where the money you're using is coming from, because we want to make sure that the money of the citizens is used to fight for the rights of the people and not for personal aggrandizement.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much once again, Mr. SG. I think that's a very clear plan about how we the shrinking space that we enjoy as a country. I just want to let you know that it is possible to access this manifesto on the party official social media platforms, on the party website. Please look for it and be able to read some of the things that may not be captured in these short presentations. Having said that, allow me welcome the leader of opposition, our party spokesperson, to present the second priority area, which is on ending corruption and wasteful expenditure. Thank you.
Thank you. This reminds me of our school debating days, where you're given 5 minutes to hammer the point. I'll attempt to do that. Our Manifesto priority area number 2 is ending corruption and wasteful government expenditure. One of the biggest quandaries we have in our country. Let me paint a picture for you people. Our national 116 trillion shillings. That's how much you and I owe. That means every Ugandan, including the baby that was born this morning, owes 2.5 million shillings. Every single Ugandan, including those who have never seen that kind of money. That's how bad it is. Bought and disbursed loans, money that is borrowed, and it sits on accounts unutilized for a very long period, and yet we have got to pay interest on that. That has got to end. We want to plan for our country efficaciously, and it's possible for us to be able to do that. As you know, some of the borrowed money is stolen. We have a debt rollover which we accumulate annually. That's money that we borrow and we are unable to pay. Domestic arrears. There's something called domestic arrears when government, ordinary people do business with government and government doesn't pay. That figure is 14 trillion shillings. People who supply food to government, ministries, departments, and so on, who do construction work, ordinary Ugandan people, 14 trillion shillings. These people borrow money from the bank so that they can do this government job, and government doesn't pay. So businesses are crumbling, local businesses. Meanwhile, we have foreign investors who come here. They are guaranteed land, they're given free land, tax holidays, they're guaranteed money. Pinetti, I don't know, whoever, Rocco, was given 200 plus billion shillings. Achak Sugar Factory, 600 billion shillings. Day Biopharma, these guys who promised to put together a COVID vaccine, 723 billion shillings. That nonsense is going to... So that we focus on the ordinary Ugandan. There's no reason why our roads cannot be built by these young engineers who graduate. It's something that you should be able to do, but you bring foreigners here, they consume all the money, including the freebies that we give them. Look, we have got a lot of poor planning that happens, something that we want to eliminate. Every year, we have several schedules of supplementary budgets, up to about 5 trillion shillings. Now, supplementary is supposed to be a vitalazi. Abantu bafunye ebizibu, bududa, and so on, and then government comes to parliament and says, we didn't plan for this. Let's avail money. But here is the surprising thing. State House, Office of the President, which uses, by the way, over 2 billion shillings per day. Their annual budget is exhausted in the first quarter, in 3 months. That's a reality, always. In the first 3 months, their entire 12 months budget is exhausted. Then they come back to Parliament for supplementary budgets. That nonsense has got to stop. And we intend to stop it. We have extensively talked about corruption. We know that on an annual basis, we lose 10 trillion shillings per year to theft. Those are hospitals, those are schools, those are roads that are stolen on an annual basis. Our government intends to make it risky for anyone to steal taxpayers' money. I know there are people who have said, and I know folks in the Inspectorate of Government, they say our challenge is our people are not morally upright. That's why there's a lot of stealing that happens. Man is inherently evil. Look, governments elsewhere, countries elsewhere where there's not as much corruption, it's not because their people are morally upright and good. No, government has made it risky to steal. You steal taxpayers' money, we lock you up. So that others pick a lesson and know you cannot touch taxpayers' money. So we don't want to always talk about corruption like these folks. You will see action. Finally, we intend to eliminate taxes on essential items like menstrual products, scholastic materials, and school data bundle. We were debating this issue sometime in Parliament, and there was a young lady, I now hear she's going to run for woman MP. She's the current youth MP, Buganda. Now I hear she wants to represent the people of Lumbuyefred as woman MP. She said, no, let's not reduce taxes on Pampers, because when we reduce taxes on Pampers, we shall be promoting homosexuality. I said, did this one even go to school? How do you reason that way? Anyway, for us, we want to practically do that so that it is accessible by our ordinary people, by the poor people whom we must be able to bolster. Here is the catch. We want to introduce a pay tax threshold of 1 million shillings. That means, for those of you that are employed in the formal sector, because currently for as long as you earn anything above 249,000, you are in the tax bracket, you must pay tax. First we are saying no. Anyone who earns below 1 million shillings, we are not going to tax that money. That is your money. So the tax threshold is going to be 1 million shillings. Anything below 1 million shillings, that is your money. Use it to better yourself as an individual. That works a lot better than, you know, we've been seeing all these programs, throw money at people, PDM, mpuuga, youth livelihood. And yes, we want to bolster our people, and you'll be seeing many of those programs where we can bolster the ordinary people as opposed to foreigners. This money we are throwing at these foreign investors, no, we want to put it in the local people's businesses. But you begin that by lessening the tax burden on our ordinary folks. That's something that we want to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our party spokesperson. Now, this country seems to have a lot of divisions. We've had governments which pity us against each other, people from regions versus the other regions. But we are one people, we are Uganda, and that's why in our third priority point, we talk about national unity. We have a deliberate plan to make sure all of us live in this country united. I will invite Mr. Giogo Fred and Mr. Court George to talk about national unity, which is part and parcel of our party, but also part of our manifesto. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, the President and everybody gathered here today. My name is George William Okoit. I am one of those presenting priority number 3 that states that we as a country must focus on consolidating our national unity. We come from a country that has a history of war. If you're very much aware, every part of this country, including Central, had at least 1 or 3 rebel groups. While all these rebel groups existed, they did not fight an individual. They were all fighting for leadership for everybody in this country. We have consumed fabricated history and distorted lies in a way that they tell us it is NRA that brought peace to the country. It is a lie. There were more than NRA groups that were fighting for peace. They simply lied the other warring parties to come together and drop their guns, gave their leaders offices like General Ali and others. Even us in Teso, we have them. They gave them positions so that they can tell their followers to stop. After they stopped, they were never compensated, they were never empowered, they were ravished in poverty. And that was done so that they can consolidate power in one person who we all know. And they told us, they gave us peace. They simply silenced guns. Other regions, I want to give an example of Teso. Teso, with the war that we went through, we lost our backbone economy, which was the cattle economy. We expected that when a government that is concerned of its own people takes over, the first thing they were supposed to do is to make sure that we, the people of Teso, are sat down and given an opportunity to forgive one another, reflect on their future, and concert their effort in developing the area while government is supporting them. As the National Unity Platform, this is our commitment and promise. We cannot arrive at a consolidated country peacefully without truth-telling. So as a government, we commit to establish a truth, reconciliation, and a justice desk. And here we are demanding that as a country, can we come together? If you know you are responsible for having committed an atrocity, come forth and tell us what happened, not the lies. Ugandans value forgiveness. Ugandans value unity. We assume that somebody cannot forgive you unless you start by telling the truth. So we are saying as a government, first and foremost, we want to put that this in place so that we track all the sources and the causes of why we went into war and therefore forge a way forward. Number two, as a government, we are saying, can we put in place at least a rehabilitation program? One beginning with psychotherapy rehabilitation. Because we cannot be able to think straight when all of us are suffering from post-trauma disorder syndrome. The syndrome is caused by direct face of traumatic events like war. That is the reason as to why they will never arrest an NUP member peacefully. They want to beat them up, bring the tortured one so that you can see, so that psychologically you suffer PTDS altogether. They want to make sure, because you know, PST is transferable through your gene. For us in there, so people fear to face government because our parents transferred the gene of fear and trauma to us genetically. So we are saying as a government, we are putting in place a program to see how best we can de-escalate trauma in the mind of our people. I thank you. I give Jogo the chance.
Mr. Coit, we really come from war-torn areas because the energy you put on the mic, you just know these are people from war-torn areas. Because you have been crying for long, now you have the energy. I hope I'm not going to be also another one. Dear President and comrades present, my name is Jago Fred, aspiring for MP for Kidul Municipality. When I was contacted to come and present on how reparations on war-torn areas have been done in the new government, I asked myself, how am I going to dress? Should I dress like a person coming from a war, or should I dress like a person of a new Uganda? And I decided to dress like a person of a new Uganda. Because in the new Uganda, you don't need to look like your problem. In a new Uganda, no one should look at you and say, look at that bakoko. I learned this vocabulary because of teaching in Kampala for 6 years. Comrades, when I was coming, our bus stopped on the way and a group of people putting on round hats and holding sticks entered the bus. If you were supposed to be there and listen to the whispers of people in the bus saying, they are there, they are passing. Yes, those are the Balalos who came to steal our land. Those are the ones. I looked at myself. Really? In a new Uganda? We still look at somebody's dressing and we believe we can judge them because of the way we look? This is going to change in a new Uganda because of the promises that I'm going to enumerate now. 1, we are going to end sectarianism and tribalism completely in Uganda. We are going to make sure that you are judged by the level of your brain, your competence. This issue of technical no, who should stop, but we should go back to technical no, how? You still remember that in your primary? Technical no, how? We used to cram that. But these days it has changed. You need to know a certain language. No wonder a certain general called MK said he's going to teach our comrades a certain language that I don't even want to mention, because he is just weaponizing innocent people who have nothing to do with their government. That is a family rule. To conclude, I want to say we are going to have equal pay for equal work. Teachers are striking. I want to tell you, in Central here, you are lucky. From Monday to Friday, you get children still going to school. Why? Because their parents can pay school fees. From my village, children have not seen teachers for close to 25 days now. And teachers, the leaders of these teachers are moving around saying we are talking with government. Talking with government? Up to when? Elections are coming. Why don't they use this time for election to pay them if possible? So I'm sending a one to fellow teachers in Uganda. If there has never been a time you want to vote Museveni out. This is the time because you have not been paid. Let me talk about national unity. We are going to organize national unity festivals and social cohesion functions, where if we are going to dance at the headquarters here, we are going to see La Raka Raka, we are going to see Baksimba, we are going to see Otole, we are going to see Ajosi from Teso, we are going to bring the Karamojongs to jump here, we are going to have all kinds of dance. So because it is called national, thank you so much. To conclude, we are going to empower the existing cultural traditional institution. Comrades, you realize what happened to the king of Rwenzururu, King Wesley Mumbere, who was punished by the government for close to 6 years. He never stepped on his soil because he was telling the truth. In the new Uganda, traditional institutions are going to have their autonomy. Traditional institutions are going to be empowered, and this will work throughout the country. They are not going to be used simply to support the government in power, but to tell the truth to power. Thank you so much, comrades. After matek luak mecholi lango karimojong ke West Nile. Machari National Unity Platform NUP. Watika wajoni gamente manyen papati enini obenero ni apoga matie Uganda makangat manyang kole kinerni umebo ka choli kinerni chol ka karimojong kinerni komechol beberu pe Uganda. Igamente manyen pa National Unity Platform wabenero ni lufonye kichulugi mabe weko fonyo tino. In Buganda we say abana basome, right? Children are going to go to school. Thank you so much. I continue. Go on. Thank you so much. Hey, my transport has started coming to go back to Kidgum.
Thank you so much. When you go back, tell them we love them so much too. That said, before we have the next priority area discussed, our alumni from the School of Leadership are preparing a skit for us. So after the next presentation, let's prepare our minds to welcome them to present their skit. Having said that, I think the discussion around teachers not teaching and the poor quality education takes us to our next priority area, which is access to quality public services. And the emphasis there is quality. So I will welcome Dr. Judith Nalukwago and our very own Dr. Numbers and doctors to come and present on quality public services. Thank you.
People power. Our power. NUP. Everywhere. And everywhere. Even here. In the new Uganda. Mr. President, the Secretary General, the Leader of Opposition, all leaders present, and the general public of Uganda, good afternoon to you all. My name is Dr. Shabim Nambasa, and I'll be presenting with Dr. Judith Nalukwago on priority number 4. And for priority number 4, we are saying that as the National Unity Platform, one of the things that we are going to put emphasis on is access to quality public services. When we talk about public services, we are talking health, we are talking education, we are talking clean water, we are talking transport, we are talking infrastructure. When we look at our health system at the moment, you'll find that out of all the districts in Uganda, about 82 districts lack a general public hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, we are saying that out of 2,100 plus sub-counties in this country, over 1,696 lack a health center for. Do not have health centers. Where are our people going to go when they fall sick? Recently, we saw Chris Barremusi fall sick in his own constituency, but there wasn't a single hospital that could attend to him. he had to send for a helicopter to come and airlift him from his constituency, from the people that he represents, to be treated in a different districts where they also have their own MP. But I ask you Ugandans, how many of you have a contact that you can call for you to get a helicopter to airlift you from wherever you are? I think out of all of us here, it could only be Mr. President, but I'm not sure. I think he says he also can't get a helicopter. So how many people are dying on a daily because they don't have access to good health care? When we speak about good health care, people believe that we are only speaking because we are privileged. I speak from the profession because I am one of them. I have served in those hospitals. I have been to Chirudu Dialysis Center, but I tell you that people fight for beds for them to be able to get dialysis. But I saw a photo of a certain country where a dog was getting dialysis. Our lives less important compared to the dogs that the whites own. We have seen pictures of babies at Kawempe Regional Referral Hospitals in these plastic chairs where you're seated today. Ladies and gentlemen, we lose over 100 mothers on a daily. It's sickening that as I hold this microphone, in this very minute that I'm speaking, there is a woman out there that is bleeding to death because there is no tranexamic acid, because they couldn't get oxygen. Sorry, I'm going very far. Let me go to education, ladies and gentlemen. You see, in Uganda, over 1 million children that enroll in primary 1, only about 300,000 make it to primary 7. That is only about how many? 30%? Do you see what I'm saying? Where are these children going that are dropping out? Who is thinking about those very children? They are out there getting pregnant if they're ladies, or if it is a gentleman, he's now going into stealing. And these children are giving birth not to children, but to more poverty, because in the first reason they dropped out, it was because of poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, we find that there are districts, for example, in Napak, where the gentleman with the big heart claims to get 100% go secondary school. Are you hearing me? Am I communicating, ladies and gentlemen? As we go ahead, we find that in the education sector, a single pupil is only allocated 20,000 for school fees in an entire year, while we see the Speaker's office getting billions for donations. We see so many spending a lot of money, in different things. They're giving out, they're dashing out money, but your child is allocated only 20,000 for them to be able to study for an entire year. I don't know what for. Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak about clean water, I've been to districts where people share water sources with cows. We find that cows are even getting some clean water, but there are districts where they do not get clean water. Out of the 48 million Ugandans here, we find that about 38 million lack access to clean water and to toilets. Where are they putting their stools? Where are they defecating, ladies and gentlemen? There are those little bearers that we find where we pass. You find there is a heap because they don't have access to clean water, and it trickles down to the health system. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform promises to offer access to good roads. We find that out of the 1,500 plus roads that we have, I think it's 153,000 kilometers worth of road network, only about 6,338 kilometers are paved. That is only about 3.9% of the total road network in Uganda. But even out of that 3.9%, 20% is in good conditions. We have seen the roads that you use. We did the pothole exhibition. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw that we have lakes in the middle of roads. When we speak about our railway system, we don't even have a gauged railway system. That out of the entire railway system, only about 321 kilometers are operational. And from where we saw videos of our own train moving backwards, and everyone was saying, where is it going? But we know that in developed countries, trains are the quickest and easiest means of transport that they actually use. Trains can improve our road transport. Trains can be used to carry out trade from region to region, but that is not what we see in the current Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, When we study about the history of Africa, Uganda, when we constructed Entebbe International Airport, it was the largest international airport in East Africa. And that was before Mr. Museveni took over power. He takes over power 40 years down the road, and Entebbe International Airport is the only airport that we have. Yet it was the biggest in East Africa. We now admire Kenya, we admire Tanzania, but I mean, what are they doing? I had forgotten to tell you that when Magufuli took over power, he paved over 5,000 roads in 5 years. 5,000 kilometers of roads in 5 years. And Mr. Museveni has done that in 40 years. What more evidence do you need for you to say that it is now for us to have a new and better Uganda? People power. Dr. Nalukogo Judith, this is a kubabulira mu Luganda so that bajjajja bange ab'emasaka bakigundu bategeere n'ab'emawokota ab'emikono muliyo musibye mutana mulina okutegeera. Bannange Dr. Shamima annyonnyodde mu Luzungu naye katuddeko mu Luganda. Ngenda kuwanguyizaako ku public service. Mu Uganda population yaffe eri miliyoni 48. Nga tugenze maaso tuprojectinze mu mwaka 2006 population ya Uganda egenda efuuke miliyoni 16. Ne kwezo miliyoni 16 abasinga kwabo ebitundu 10 bagenda kubeera bakozi. Kitegeeza Uganda oba government erina okwetegekera ekiseera ekyo. Bwekikyetegekera tetugenda ku developinga. China yetegekera ekiseera ekyo. Singapore yatetegekera ndowooza mulaba gye bali. So nga ntandika mu public service tulinayo ebyobulamu, ebyenjigiriza, amaanyi g'amasannyalaze, amazzi amayonjo. Tulinayo enguudo, tulinayo eggaali z'omukka, tulinayo ebisaawo by'ennyonyi. Tugamba tuliwa nga Uganda biseera bino. Mu Uganda tulinayo districts 82 ezitalina malwaliro. Ate nga tulina ne sub-counties tezirina health center 3s. Banange health center 3s watandikira obujjanjabi mu system ya health mu Uganda. Naye ebyalo oba sub-counties amagombolola 1,600 tegayina health center 3s. Kamba buliyo ka story tawaddeyo nga tugenda nga tuva Emityana tugenda Ekyankwanzi ku campaign ya president. Netusanga health center 3 nensalawo okukikozesa okweyamba. Unfortunately yabadde abandoned. Tebuli basawo n'abalwadde bali awo tebalina abakolako. Bwe nageze mu toilet okumanya zibadde abandoned. Nasanze ennumba Mr. President ennumba nezinnuma. Ennaku ssatu mbadde siri campaign trail kubanga mbadde ngezaako okuwona. Naye ebyo bye twagala okukolako nti tewali health center 3 mu government ya His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ejja kubeera abandoned. Natugenda maaso. Wami Museveni alina emmotoka ezimutambuza 6. Si nkaaga wabula 6. Naye mu Uganda yonna tulina ambulances 178 bannayuganda. Lwaki gavumenti eno teswalako? Bino twagala okukyusa. Nga tugendako mubya enjigiriza. Ndi musanyufu nti nno nze nzaalidde abasomesa era nasomera ku ssomero lya UPE so mmanyi ekiriyo ate nga bazadde bange bakolanga lesson plans nga nange ndaba kirabeka kyenva bazaala omwana omugezi naye tugende mu maaso. Mu byenjigiriza omwana oba buli mwana mu Uganda bamuwa $20,000 buli mwaka. $20,000 buli mwaka kisobola kukola ki bannayuganda? $20,000 tekisobola kugula na kalaamu oba kugula peeni mu mwaka oba mu ttaamu egi onye mwana nasobola okusoma. Mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tugenda kwongeza funding mu UPE schools. Ekirala ekisinga obukulu bano abaana bagenda ku ssomero bambi ne bamala essaawa 8 nga tebalina kyebalidde. Tetugenda kukkiriza ebyo mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi. Mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi buli mwana ajja kufuna eminwe at least emu buli lunaku basobola okonsentratinga mu kusoma kwabwe. Ekirala abasomesa beekalakaasa. Ekisooka tebamala kubanga bw'otunuulira staffing rate y'amasomero mu Uganda gali ku 34%. N'obutamala abasomesa era nze maama wange yasomesanga mu ssomero lya gavumenti naye ng'asomesa subjects 3. Lwaki omusomesa omu bamubadde n'okusomesa subjects 3? Buli subject erina okubeera n'omusomesa. N'ekirala abasomesa tebabasasudde bulungi. Kyokkola babeekalakaasa mu Uganda empya tewajja kubeerawo kwekalakaasa kuba bajja kubeera ne ssente eziwala era tujja basasula bulungi.
Bwetugenda ku kyamazzi baganda bange abasinga mulwala typhoid temumanyi bino ebintu gye biva kubanga bannayuganda abasinga tebalina mazzi mayonjo kyokka nga tulina agayanja ga nalubaale tulina kyoga byonna tubiina mu Uganda naye ensi nga zi Saudi Arabia ezitalina nnyanja sirina amazzi amalungi ageyagaza naye wano mu Uganda tetugalina lwaki tubeera mu gavumenti bwetyo ne tugenda ku masomero amasomero ebitundu 68 ku 100 tebirina mazzi amalwaliro ebitundu 44 ku 100 tebirina mazzi lwaki eddwaliro libeerawo nga terina mazzi bwetugenda ku bya enguudo Dr. Shamim bagambye nti tulina netiwaka y'enguudo emitwalo 15 nengoje emitwalo 15 kilometers nkakaaga zokka zenkole ate nga NRM yakakolako kilometers 14,000 imagine emyaka 4 kitegeeza buli mwaka bakola kilomita 10 incompetence of this government tetugenda jikiriza mu gavumenti empyawo mu Uganda nga tugenda maaso nti railway abasinga ddala bazadde baffe basingako obukulu bazadde bamwe batambuliranga mu gaali y'omukka naye kati nze emyaka gyange okulaba ku gaali y'omukka nina agenda kubeera wa Uganda tekigenda kubeera mu gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi ebyo byonna tugenda bikyusa mufune gaali y'omukka ng'osobola okubeera wano e Kampala yobeerayo omupiira mu Hoima City ng'olinnya high speed training ebitwala ddakiika 3 watuuse dda walabye omupiira wakomyewo Uganda empya tetubasuubiza ekirala era ebidiridde okuseba amasanyalaze n'amazzi amasanyalaze ga bbeeyi uniti y'amasanyalaze ya siringi 10 ngenda mu saluuni okunsiba enviiri okunnaaza bunaza obuviiri omukyala wa saluuni nangamba maama amasanyalaze ga bbeeyi nange nnyina okujjako sente nyingi naye nga lwaki mbeera nsiba enviiri za sente nyingi nga lwaki gavumenti ya Kyagulanyi tejja uniti y'amasanyalaze ku siringi 10 n'ebiteeka ku siringi 5 ekidomola ky'amazzi tugenda kukijja ku nnusu 120 tukiteeke ku nnusu 10 bannayuganda mugenda kunywa Uganda ate nga n'okukonekutinga amazzi n'amasanyalaze bigenda kubeera byabwerere gavumenti egenda bikolako ekisinga obukulu airport mukimanyi loopu waffe ng'akyakulira kosase yavaayo n'abalaga nti mwezo waliyo abakyala bataasoma bibaaweeja emirimu abataasoma bonna tugenda bagobayo kale baasoma omukiki naye biri ebitabo byetwogerako bonna bataasoma tugenda bagobayo tuteekeye abantu abasobola okumanaginga eya transport yaffe wabeerayo airport nga munnayuganda asobola okubuka n'avayo nga bwekiri e Kenya ababaddeko e Kenya mukimanyi abantu bavuga okuva e Mombasa ne bagenda ki e Nairobi at low cost bye twagala mu Uganda empya bannayuganda nga mmaliriza mukimanyi tubyogeddeko sente za health zigenda kwongezebwa tugenda kwongeza sente funding mu government hospitals ate n'abaana baffe bajja kulyanga emmere y'obwerere buli lunaku neyanzisa nnyo people power our power.
Thank you so much, Dr. Judy. In conclusion, here's what the new Uganda promises. With the National Unity Platform, we are saying that our health centers are going to be increased. We are going to increase funding in the healthcare system to about 25% or even more, considering what was promised in the Abuja Declaration that says if the health system must improve, at least 16% of the national budget must be dedicated to the health system. We are going to recruit doctors 16 times more than what we have at present. And we are saying that every health center 3 must have a doctor. And we are going to triple other healthcare workers in the new Uganda. In the new Uganda, the funding for the education sector is going to be increased. We are saying, why should our teachers be struggling? Yet we have a lot of money. We have over 10 trillion that is going into corruption every year, but our teachers do not have enough salary. We are saying that connection to the national grid for electricity is going to be free of charge. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not have to buy electricity poles anymore. You do not have to pay for the wires to have electricity in your homes. We are going to remove value-added tax on electricity bills. We are going to make sure that businesses and domestic users of electricity, where SMEs fall, do not have to pay VAT. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make sure that every village has 10 water sources, clean water sources, and all town councils and municipal councils must construct toilets that will be accessed for free, ladies and gentlemen. I feel so bad when I go to Kampala and I have to look for a toilet and I pay, yet it is even dirty. But they are going to be free of charge in the new Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a railway that connects all the 4 regions in Uganda. Why should it take you 8 hours, 12 hours to come from here to Yumbe, yet you can use a train and get there in 4 hours? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make sure that we have regional, international airports. These airports that you see, we are going to put down and we lift very new, good-looking international airports. And there is no reason why you will have to come from Mutungamo to Entebbe to board a plane to Rwanda. Do you understand? That is what we are saying. We are saying that in the new Uganda, you will not have to struggle for anything. We shall make sure that whatever it is that you need as a public service is available to you. People power. Our power. Kunga Uganda Kunga. Thank you so much.
From what you've heard, do you want more of the same or you want change? You already have a clear picture of what is going to be in the new Uganda. And we are not just saying we are going to do these things, we have people who are going to do these things. I'm sure you're confident that these young ladies and doctors are capable of delivering what they have just promised. That said, before we welcome our alumni to perform the skit, we shall first have a surprise artist. Felista, the superstar, is going to sing, perform for us. Thank you so much. DJ. Mr. President. Wow. Obaye nnyo. Uganda empya era nakweyagala nnyo. Thank you so much for that. We are going to have one more presentation and then we'll have last gift. At this point, many of you have been asking, because in our manifesto we have told you we are going to create 10 million jobs. And many of you have been saying, how is that possible? I think most of you have gotten used to governments which don't create jobs. I'm going to welcome Honorable Bobi to present on the issue of unemployment and how we are going to create jobs for you. Thank you so much.
People power, our power, NUP, President Kavule omukisa ogw'enjawulo okukulisaayo mu kuleta Mubende ne kuleta Luweero. Bane mumukuliseeyo yakikoze. One, let me start with a simple philosophy in managing an economy. It is akin to going to war. Because quite often, after all this struggle we are in to remove a dictator, and our president, after swearing in, he will be just occupying momentarily a certain clear stop. But it will also define how far the climb has been and how steep the next journey to end unemployment, to create a better life, to give our people better opportunities. It will just be a beginning of a major struggle. Now, like any other war, developing an economy entails taking over what we call commanding heights. Commanding heights of an economy starts with, I want to mention two that are very relevant. A commanding height of an economy, the first one is an emergency of an enlightened elite class in a country. I'm using the word enlightened, not people who have gone to school. An enlightened elite class is aware they must live simple so that their people must simply live. They do every sacrifice. They have a command of duty, responsibility, commitment, sacrifice, patriotism, and courage to ensure they deliver a nation. The second commanding height is an emergency, a skilled, which they've talked about, of a skilled, healthy, working human resource, for which people have talked about health and education. Another commanding height is peace. When I talk about peace, I'm speaking about durable, predictable, peace that we take for granted, not an absence of war and gunshots. Once you have that peace and stability, then you have occupied another commanding height. But in the role of that peace is the role of the military, for which most militaries in Africa fail African presidents. The military complex, other than waging war, is the gatherer of strategic information and direction of the country. They have a duty to unflinchingly speak to a president, no matter how difficult, to tell the president that what you are doing is not right, change the direction, take a new course because of the future of our country. Now, our military, I think all they do is to consolidate and the presidency. Another commanding height, of course, is finance and banking, which I'll leave. But my role was to demonstrate to you that you can create 10 million new jobs. I think that is an understatement. In Tanzania here, they have demonstrated, starting with the Magufuli, that in 5 years you can transform a country. The young man, the general, the friend of the president, who has demonstrated that in 3 years just, you can transform a country. We are sure with the National Unity Platform, with the discipline of the National Unity Platform, it will take us 2 to 3 years to put Uganda right and begin a new course. Not just to give you peace and stability, to give this country a heritage of an ever-improving destiny. I'm speaking about a heritage. Countries change forever. Good leaders don't change countries momentarily during their regime. They give them a basis of an ever better life for their citizens. And it is possible, starting with Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and the National Unity Platform. Will it be reinventing the wheel? No. Nations start from somewhere. America was given an opportunity by one man called George Washington. So was India. China was given an opportunity by Chairman Mao and others. Singapore by Lee Kuan Yew. And so many other countries. So I have no doubt, and I've worked with our president closely, I have no doubt he will deliver Uganda to the promised land. So be out there, be all out 4 months from now, 2 months and vote. Now, this is what we are going to do to create jobs. One, we are going to leverage tourism. Tourism has the potential to create new jobs in Uganda. And let me speak about tourism. Tourism today does not mean the presence of crocodile and lions. For you to have a tourist destination, you must improve all the things the Sabims have talked about. Infrastructure, have peace, have better roads, have communication, have better hotels. Once you do that, tourists will simply come, even without branding. So you don't need to. There must be roads without tanks and tear gas. There must be respect for human rights. Put any Mutwe in a basement, you are discouraging 1,000 and hundreds of thousands tourists. No one wants to come to a country where people are put in a basement. It can't. Every time you see jam on Kampala Road, you are discouraging tourists. So today people go to Dubai. Are there dinosaurs in Dubai? No. Are there lions in Dubai? No. Are there valleys in Dubai? Are there rivers in Dubai? No. It's because they have done a first-class infrastructure. That's what our government will do. The second thing we shall do to leverage is to create an industrial sector that can create jobs. An industrial sector that can create jobs will be the one that has a backward and forward linkage. Backward linkage is an industrial base that will be built on our comparative advantage, which is agriculture. And when you build an industry on agriculture, two, we are now getting a new comparative advantage. We are one of the richest nations in mineral potential in the world. From oil to uranium to gold to tea to everything you need in Uganda we have. How very fast shall actually the thinking in the other sector of the economy is if we had developed our industrial sector, our mineral sector faster, we would never have needed to borrow to develop the oil sector. Therefore, we are going to fast track a huge industrial complex based on our mineral resources, on our agricultural resources, on our fish industry, on everything we have, and create hundreds and millions of jobs for our people. We are also going to do where our presidents come from. He has been so we are going to do a sports and arts industry that will deliver Uganda. And we can tell you today, a 1 billionaire that has joined the billionaire rank this week by Forbes magazine is not an industrialist. He's a one man called Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a footballer. How many Cristiano Ronaldos can we opportunities years back? That one would be a billionaire in the making. We have artists that are doing so well. We've just seen a young girl here perform. In another world, this younger girl instantly will be a millionaire in terms of. So once you do those best things, then other things simply fall in. So our promise for a new Uganda is a Uganda that will ensure you have a heritage of prosperity, not for now, not for our children, it will be for infinity and beyond. And with those few words, I thank you. I am requested to translate what I've talked about in Uganda briefly. Ensi yonna nationalunity platform bw'emala okuwangula egenda ku lutabaalo olwokubiri. Olutabaalo olwokubiri lwe lw'okukyusa obulamu bw'abannansi, okubaggya mu mbeera embi gye mukooye tugende mu mbeera ki ey'okwesiima. Tetubagamba mutulwanirira mu nsi muno mubeere baavu, no, ekitulwanyisa bannayuganda mubeere baki bagagga nga muli mu bulamu obukola ki obwesiimisa nga temusula na siwegi. Wano mu Uganda abantu basula n'ebinyonyi, wano mu Uganda abantu basula n'ente, abantu mu Uganda basula wamu n'embuzi nga temuli mu nnyumba za nsiisira. Ng'obudde buzibwa tekitegeeza kizikiza, kitegeeza ekitangaala obukulembeze obulungi obulala bwe bukikuwadde. Ng'abantu abagala okuba bulungi muli buki bulungi, n'olwakyo olutalo lwe tuliko lwakuba buki bulungi, kubanga tukooye embeera ki embi. Ebyo okubifuna wano wammanga tulina bikola. One, wateekwa okuvaayo abakulembeze abaagala eggwanga lyabwe nga ddala ddala mwebyo gya ggwanga. Ekyo kitegeeza si bakulembeze bannabyabufuzi bokka, nammwe mwenna bagayi. Oli kaawo, oli simanyi, oli community development officer, oli nurse, oli headmaster, working a permanent secretary in our government, a corrupt one, pack your bags nga tetunnasimbula. Olumala okulayira boti olya nti oli mugini y'obuli corrupt, please just run away. Kyagulanyi atuuse, kiboko ya uchafu. Kiboko ya uchi, kiboko ya uchi, kiboko ya uchi, n'olwo gwe tuleeta kiboko ya uchi. Buli alimu tate kobeere speaker ojagenda, kobeere ane kamanda ojagenda, kobeere nga kosandisa zokka mweba permanent secretary simawaki abali mu office musibe tayi tubaviira ku nguudo tubawa emmotoka empya tubasasulira insurance. Please obuvunaanyizibwa bwammwe bugenda kuba kolera bbanga lyaffe n'abantu baffe. Ne political class will be required to do that. Political class itegeeza buli omu okuva ku president, genda ku kansala, genda ku w'omuluka, genda ku gwe taata futu soja. Tokola ba futu soja, genda mu gavumenti ng'osuubira kinaawe olifuna omukisa okubba essente z'eggwanga. Ekitutwala mu kino kweswalinya nti abaana baffe n'ensi yaffe tubawa ekyobusika ekyaleero ekyenkya ekirivaawo abadan abada tugende mu nsi ey'essanyu, okwesiima, okuba obulungi, okweyagala, okufa nga tetubonera lwaki twagala. Nawana n'otuka okwegomba okufa. Nja bawa story. Bantwala Russia maximum prison mu bya popular resistance. Nensangayo omwana omuto baliko ya young boys, ne mbabuuza lwaki babakutte. Ne baŋŋamba wane Rusira w'otulese muwanga w'otusanze twesiimika okuba wano dana okuba egweyo. Ne mbabuuza lwaki, ne baŋŋamba ti wano mu kkomera tuli assured ekyeggulu kya kawunga naye weekiri. N'olwakyo ekkomera bwe nabasanga they were happy to be in prison because they will be assured of supper and dinner and shelter. That's not the Uganda we want. Kyomwana omuto ajja preferring okusigala mu kkomera n'okubeera eruki eweeru kubanga eri mu kkomera afuna ekyeggulo oba ekyemiki ekyemisana. N'olwekyo tugenda kutumbula ebyobulambuzi nga tutandikira ddala okulaba nti buli kimu ekikola obulambuzi tukiteekamu ssente ezeetaagisa tusobole okuleeta abalambuzi baleete ssente bazireke wano nga ebaba mu Uganda tebeeralikira tiyagasi, tebeeralikira kukwatibwatwalibwa mu kkomera, tebajja kulwa mu infrastructure. Actually Malaysia waliyo tourism police. Abalambuzi be bajja Malaysia okuva ku airport ng'oli mulambuzi mukifeede okukadengezi ne zitwala balupembe ogenda okutuppa bw'ojja ng'oli mulambuzi nga tukutikka nga tukuyisa mu traffic jam mangu nga tukutwala mu hoteli ennungi ng'osasula ng'abaana baffe bafuna emirimu. Instead wano emmotoka za poliisi zitambuza balupembe bagenda mu ofiisi kunyaga sente zaffe. No, those pickups will be picked from you to ziwe tourists zibanguye okutuuka wetwagirako ki lupiya. Ekyo kiraba kibi. Tugenda kuzimba amakolera agannamaddala. Amakolera gaffe gagenda kukola kye bagamba kusinziira ku maanyi n'ebyobugagga Katonda byakola ki byatuwa. Uganda bannange buli kimu tukiina. Mabule tetulina okubeera wano tewali yazereero nga gavumenti oba owegombola yamuwadde emmere. Wali wano waliwo eyazze ng'omwezi guno yafunayo akawunga ka gavumenti, yafunayo omucere gwa gavumenti. Noti ensi asobola okweriisa olubuto tekivaala myaka 3 ena tugitereeza. Sebo President, myaka 3 bwekiti mujja kubeera mu ggwanga eddala. Kino lyemukoze eki limubaddemu nga n'ebyenfuna bwebiki bitangaavu. Kukola ekyo tugenda kukwata ebyobugagga mu ttaka ku nnyanja. Tugenda kuzimba amakolero nga gasobola okuliikiriza oba galiikirizibwa obulimi n'okwongera ssente mu by'obulimi. Tugenda okutumbula ebitone by'abantu bonna mu Uganda asobola okudduka bwekanya okugulunyweza, asobola okuwa ebikonde naawe nyweza ebikonde, asobola okuyimba bambi teekamu amaanyi, asobola buli kyosobola okukola kitekemu amaanyi. Anti Kyagulanyi ajja. Abantu mweka abateetaaga Kyagulanyi namweka mbabuulire mu ababbi abagayaavu abatukaleeti ku mirimu ono gwe tuleese kibooko yawuka. Nationalunityplatform is a train for disciplining Ugandans and delivering for a better country. I thank you. God bless.
Ebale nnyo Deputy President, bw'awulidde ebigenda okubeera mu Uganda empya afunye akakisa okubeera wano, ddayo otegeeze buli omu ky'owulidde wano leero. Era abantu mu Baganda bali those who had given up empapula bazikubeko enfuufu. Uganda empya empapula ezo zigenda kuba za mugaso. Kati bwe mwazze wano ky'owulidde tegeezaako munno asobole okutegeera ekirundiridde mu Uganda empya. Having said that, mujja kutuukiriza tuweeko omukisa alumni ba School of Leadership bajja baperforminge wano skit. People power! Our power! NUP! Everywhere! Ladies and gentlemen, basobole bajja bamukkirize bategeeze nti yefeba official campaigners aba flag bearers NUP. Listen very carefully to the good news, ladies and gentlemen.
To the oppressed, to the mothers who push bed on hospital floors, to the parents whose children have been seated at home for close to a month. This is the good news. In less than 2 to 3 months, we are entering a new Uganda. People power! Our power! People power! NUP!
musajja oyokya akabalero ki ku pulezidenti ku MP tulondanga tto awo oba oyokya.
The system was sham.
No!
How do you leave such an able leader?
This gentleman here.
Wakati bali abadongo. Wano ku Kavule East tugenda kulondanga.
Oliriza oyokya.
Kulonda mudongo.
Mpaka oyokyeza osiriziza. This guy here, we know him. He competed for the party card. He was not given that chance. And then you decided to run independently.
I have been in the party for so long. I'm not to the party. I have moved to the president everywhere.
My friend, we had a trust in you. We trusted you. You know the party ideology, you know everything. No more shame there for you. Power. Everywhere. The Kabaka is here.
Hello, comrades.
Yes.
My name is Honorable Gorogoro. And I am the flag bearer of Kavule East constituency. Good. I am here to tell you about my manifesto.
Before even the manifesto, Gorogoro, you! Honorable Gorogoro, you!
My first thing that I'm going to do as the Honorable Gorogoro is to make sure I supply sugar. I am going to make sure I supply salt. Everybody will have salt in their homes. I am the rightful honorable, and I'm giving you sugar and salt.
Honorable.
Listen. I'm going to make sure I give you rice. Now,
Honorable, what is that?
That is my beautiful manifesto.
I see. I don't know. Relax.
Yes.
You are the flag bearer of NUP.
Yes.
My friend, NUP has a very strong manifesto.
Are you sure?
You don't have to fidget around looking for what to say. To tell people. Just listen. It is a very strong manifesto. Don't worry.
Our manifesto has priorities. Priority number 1, restore freedom, constitutionalism, rule of law, and our party, everything.
Read a manifesto.
Honorable, I want to tell you, our manifesto has priorities. Priorities number 2. We want to end corruption and wasteful expenditure. We're going to have a lean and efficient government. MPs twagala abiri, ministers twagala abiri, MPs twagala kinana, district twagala zikengeza. Honorable, yes, we are going to have in a new Uganda, we are going to consolidate national unity. We are going to rebuild communities and eliminate sectarianism. Manifesto.
Listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the new Uganda that we the citizens of this beloved our country are claiming for now.
Yes.
National Unity Platform Manifesto guarantees equal access to quality public services. Ladies and gentlemen, clean water, good education, health care, energy, and public infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, National Unity Platform Manifesto got you in this our country that we are suffering with high rate of unemployment and poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, the NUP Manifesto is going to create 10 million new jobs in this our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform Manifesto got you all in this our country. Why do we have children that suffer with hunger in schools? Ladies and gentlemen, the National Unity Platform Manifesto is going to establish a public school feeding program to transform agriculture. Ladies Yeah. What a manifesto.
Why? Put the priorities down and put the priorities. Comrades, yes, honorables, we still have much more. Not only the already outlined priorities of the manifesto, but our mighty party is also committed to tackle all issues on land with immediate effect. It will stop land grabbing, it will restore stolen land to victimized individuals, as well as guarantee to secure land rights. All good news for your comrades. As reflected to the priority 8 of our manifesto, our NUP as a party will directly promote decentralization at all levels, both at local and regional government. My comrades, our mighty party, the NUP, is going to strengthen the foreign policy, positioning the diaspora as an asset, as well as strengthen our competition at global level in order to build and develop our country in the new Uganda.
Natural resource management and technology.
Now, gentlemen, you made a very big mistake. We had trust in you. But since you decided to stand against the flag bearer, first of all, you violated all the party values. Think about the revolutionary display where you had to accept the results. No, you are no longer trusted. You lost the trustworthiness. You are no longer reliable, and you lost the integrity.
Obligation of you as a member of the party, that you have the obligation to abide and protect our party constitutions. Article 5(c) also tells you that if anyone stands against the party flag bearer and then cease to be a member of national unity.
Your candidate is no longer a member. That's what you are moving. Yes. You can move.
President Bobi akukobera tusibe bugaito sikutikinga ingaito byo weka
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a foreigner here.
We came with this letter to you, and it comes up to my concern that you need Honorable His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is the true leader of Uganda. Lastly, I want to categorically state that you do, according to your manifesto, you do not have to be an elite to work for the people or to execute duties for the people. NUP manifesto is the only way to go.
People power! Waka do diariwa. Go na mobile wenga. When you Uganda, remove this. If you need this very serious barrio. Who wants it?
Next those are alumni from our School of Leadership, and also Makulungi. Yomu yanibwanita akati okusoma era essomero lyaffe ebyo bivuddemu mu ssomero lyaffe. We hope to expand the capacity of the school. Of course, it's regrettable that this government has inducted our leaders of the school, but at least you can see the value that comes of that out of that investment. Because we have current is working against you, not for you. No one would not want to have a school which gives us such products, such levels of creativity. Naye tulowooza nti mwena abadde balaba mutegedde ensonga eziri mu manifesto yaffe. At this point, our time is fast spent, but also conveniently, we plan that when it reaches this time, we can present the popular school feeding program. So the next priority area is the school feeding program, which is going to be presented by our party treasurer, Honorable Benjamin Katana. You're welcome.
People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. You know, it's very dangerous to talk about feeding at a time when people are beginning to feel hungry. I take a short time. Mr. President, our distinguished leaders, and all of you citizens, fellow citizens gathered here, and those that are watching us from elsewhere. I am here to share one of the priority areas in our manifesto, which is about the school feeding program. As a nation, we have had the misfortune of being led by a group of incompetent and unambitious people who only measure success on the basis of the past. And as a result, they have made some sections of our society equal and ambitious. And when we present a very fine picture of how a new Uganda, the future will look like my colleagues have ably done, there are many people who doubt whether it will be implemented or not. The school feeding program is a multi-sectoral, multi-purpose, and multi-dimensional program that is intended to achieve about 4 objectives under the bigger idea of NUP's plan for improving the quality of life of Ugandans. Because a government which cares about its people, a government which is people-centered, will automatically focus on improving the quality of life of the citizens. So the first objective under this plan, the plan is basically about providing a meal to the school-going children at primary level every day, a hot meal that is nutritious. And of course, we are going to do a survey, and the materials will be sourced from the homesteads in this country. So the first objective is to boost household incomes. And how do we intend to achieve this? We intend to elevate the household in Uganda into a production unit that will produce these raw materials that will be procured for purposes of feeding the children at school. If you are in an area, for example, that produces soya bean, and we know that it's a nutritious product that will help to boost the growth of these children, that will help to eliminate malnutrition-related diseases, then the investment will be in soya bean to make sure that the different households in that area are supported to produce soya bean, which will be procured by the school to feed the children. If you are from a fishing community and you have silverfish mukene, or you have fish, the investment of the NUP government will be in that sector to make sure that the households are able to supply the school with this product and earn money, but also feed the children. If you are from a milk producing community, and we have so many people who have been struggling with market for their milk to the extent that sometimes you see they are powering it, sometimes they are selling it at 200 shillings a litre, when in Kampala it is 2,000 a litre. We are going to provide a market at the nearest school. The government of NUP will procure the milk, feed your children will be healthy, but your pockets will also be healthy.
The other aspect related to that, away from boosting the household incomes, is boosting agriculture. Agriculture is the leading employer in this country. However, it has not received sufficient support from government. And one of the challenges that the farmers face is a lack of market for their products. I've given you an example of milk, and there are several other examples where people are struggling to find market for their products. Sometimes they are even cheated by the middlemen and middlewomen, but also cheated by the so-called industrialists who are protected by the cartel whose ambition is only to extract money from the population. So now we want to create a market at the nearest school in your community to make sure that now your products will be sold to the school, you will earn money, your children will feed, and they will learn well. The other aspect related to that is fostering better learning environment. A hungry child cannot concentrate in class. By the statistics of government itself, today, the dropout rate in primary school is 68%. By implication, it means that out of 100 people who enroll in P1, 68 of those 100 do not complete P7. And that is a time bomb. And my colleagues have ably explained the other interventions that our government is going to come up with, including the increment on the capitation grant from the 6,000 per term to a more reasonable figure. But we are now also, in addition to that, going to introduce feeding of children at school so that people are not driven out of class by hunger to go to prison like the ones that the Honorable Mwanga was talking about. Even in school, you see, children are comfortable going to jail because they are assured of dinner. But now we want to make sure that they are comfortable going to school because they are assured of a meal, and a nutritious meal. Fellow citizens, the other intervention related to that is about the elimination of malnutrition. Every household in Uganda today spends a lot of money, and which money most households do not have, on meeting medical bills for taking children to hospital. And most of these children fall sick because of low immunity levels, because of poor feeding. So by feeding these children with a hot, nutritious meal every day, we are going to reduce the cost of medical bills significant amounts by making sure that the children are healthy, they are feeding well, and they are learning. They are not missing school because they are sick, and the parents are not spending money they don't have on them to meet medical bills because they are healthier. And so many people have been asking, when we have been talking about this, the school feeding program, that how are you going to implement this? We intend to implement it by working closely with PTA, the Parents Teachers Associations. Most of them under the current regime have collapsed, but we are going to work hard to make sure that we restore them, that we strengthen them, so that they can be leading stakeholders working with government, but particularly working with the community development officers at the sub-county for purposes of coordination to make sure that this program is implemented. We are also going to make sure, especially in areas where production of these nutritious things is a little bit complicated because of climate and other things. And we have other interventions like irrigation that my colleagues have talked about. But we are also going to make sure that we strengthen the production unit of state agencies like Uganda prisons, so that they can be able to produce for some parts of the country that are not able to produce some of these products. And fellow citizens, this intervention also has a multiplier effect, in a sense that if the schools in a certain sub-county in Chusa are procuring eggs for the school, it means that even the person who makes the chicken feeds is going to get business. It means that some young people are going to get jobs to work in the poultry farm. It means that some young people are going to get jobs to work in the in the feeds factory. So this program is comprehensive and it is intended to cover a number of dimensions. How do we intend to do this? We intend to spend 1,500 on each student per day. And we are targeting 5 million children for the initial program. The total cost of this comes to around 1.5 trillion to implement this. And many people have been asking that where are you going to get 1.5 trillion from? My colleagues have given you a clear picture of what is happening in Uganda, and our president has been emphasizing that Uganda is a rich country, but we are poor. We are poor people. Because the statistics of the Inspectorate of Government have placed the money lost to corruption to about 9 trillion a year. And for us, we are looking for 1.5 trillion to feed our children. That is a very insignificant part of the money that is lost. We have been told about the mineral wealth that this country is blessed with. Our responsibility is to utilize the wealth for the benefit of the citizens. And so many people have been asking that there is a program going on called Parish Development Model. That how is it going to continue surviving under the NUP government? NUP government is a pro-people government, is a pro-development government. And what has not been managed well, our responsibility is to manage it well. The money that people are being given, for example, to go and invest in whichever they please, without training, without proper alignment with the market forces, for us we shall invest it in making sure that households produce food which will be procured by the schools in their communities. And by doing so, the little money that they are given will have a big impact, not just on their income, but on the health of their children and the health of the nation. I thank you.
Thank you so much. If you think that 1.5 trillion is a lot of money, remember that Uganda, under the NRM government, has since spent 1.24 trillion on Lumbuye hospital project, which remains a construction site at best. So the problem is not the lack of finances, it is the misuse of those finances. Thank you so much. We are going to welcome Madam Ramto Api of Lavia, who will present about how we are going to stop land grabbing, which we think is a very serious challenge in this country that has affected all the other forms of development, because we believe that land is a very crucial factor of production and any other form of development you want to do. She will also be joined by Ms. Natalie Margaret, who will present about empowering regional and local governance. Thank you so much. I will welcome the able ladies who will come and present that quickly. Let's utilize the time that we have.
People power. Our power.
People power.
My name is Ramto Flavia Pio from Northern Uganda, Omoro district. I bring you revolutionary greetings from all the villages of Omoro district. Firstly, because we are the first-hand victims of land grabbing in Uganda today. For many of us, for millions of Ugandans, if not all, we live in fear of losing our land, not to natural disasters, but to government officials, to government actors, and to many investors in the disguise of conservation. However, we bring a new Uganda. No wonder, us from Northern Uganda are very eager for the new Uganda. We are eagerly waiting. It's 3 months now. And I assure you, it is protest votes up there. Since 2006, my brothers from the north can testify. The Uganda Wildlife Authority, gazetted the areas of our power in the disguise of conservation, I repeat. And our people of Madi and Acholi were forcefully and bitterly convicted from their lands. Many years later, they were given unsatisfactory compensation. This has led to a lot of people picking arms against each other. Madi and Acholi have lived together from the times of our ancestors. But after this, we saw a lot of us picking arms against each other. We saw us picking pangas, fighting each other. Convictions have become a big issue in northern Uganda because it has torn our communities apart. Not just the communities of Acholi, but the communities of West Nile, of Karamoja, of Lango. But here's the good news. The National Unity Platform that seeks election to government looks to address visible solutions to these pending issues. First, with land and tenants by enforcing legal safeguards for minor landowners and tenants. We'll also look at secure customary land rights by reviewing current past land transactions and taking concrete steps to restore land to rightful owners. We're also looking at having registration of all land. From a small landowner in Amuru to a big landowner in Entebbe, all your land is registered, because why not?